Hey, what's going on everybody? Zach Katz here. In today's video, we're taking a look at Half-Mask Spider-Man from Wave 1.5 of the Walgreens Animated line. Now, 1.5 is a restock of Series 1, but instead of restocking the exact same series as Series 1, they gave us a brand new series, or wave, and I think that's really awesome. That's great fan service for Walgreens, who's getting into the Minimate game and going at it hard. We got Series 2 coming out early next year, so, there's also a 2.5 coming. We don't know who's in it, but that's really exciting. So if anybody ever watches this from Walgreens, thank you a lot. It's really cool. So I do want to point out one thing. We in this package got a bonus head, the traditional Spider-Man head, and then if you're surprised by this, and you watching your first Spider-Man review as we get a web. Thought of a different way to use it the other day. I haven't even touched this yet. I have to. It's rolled up really nicely. So I don't know if it'll work super well or look good at all, but maybe Spider-Man catches a bad guy and ties him up with his web. I'm just trying to think of what to do with it at this point. I don't know if I'll ever have this web in my display, use it at all, but it exists. So, yeah. So, sorry, I got on a tangent there. So, one thing I wanted to point out is Zach writes the bio. Zach, not me. Zach from Diamond Select Toys, DST Zach on the Multiverse. He writes the bios for each character. Now, with Half-Mask Spider-Man, the appeal is you see his face somewhat. What he writes is, usually Spider-Man keeps his face completely covered to protect his secret identity, but a guy's got to eat. Now, what bothers me personally, I'm not trying to rhyme there, it just happened, is that with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles sets, the Series 2 particularly, they came with pieces of pizza, which I know Spider-Man's Marvel Legend had, so this just seemed like the perfect opportunity to give him one of those slices. I don't know, maybe Marvel, because they have some restrictions on things, doesn't allow food with their characters. I'm trying to think if there's ever been food, in the Marvel line. I got nothing, but because I have pizza, I wanted to put one in his hand for the sake of this review. The pizza's tight, so bear with me. Aha! Yes, there we go. Now he's smiling. Alright, so we'll lose the pizza because it doesn't come with a figure, but that's how I will probably have him displayed. And he's actually painted really well for the most part. Looking at the figure through the packaging, I was, excited. I was like, I couldn't see the bonus head. It wasn't pictured, so that was a gamble. There have been two of basically the exact same Spider-Man released thus far, both in Series 1. Actually, excuse me. One was Series 1, which, is fine, but the other one was Toys R Us Wave 20. So I have two of these figures. The other Walgreens one came with this face right here, so that's what separates them. It's the only difference. I'll bring the other one back for comparison at the end, but I don't see much difference. Anywho, but there's this big stain on the side of his head. That's not good. But I'll say he fell down in the mud and got dirty. So I'm not really a stickler on the back of the Minimate, because you can do some action shots, if he's fighting somebody himself. But for the most part, that looks pretty good anyway. And the detailing on the back, it's a little slap here on the back of his foot. But what did I just say? If I was on the front, I'd care more. I like how that's done. These are based off the animated Spider-Man Web Warriors series. I believe that's on Cartoon Network. I've seen it on Netflix, and it's pretty funny. Drake Bell plays Spider-Man, I believe, so he's pretty funny. But they are all done in this style that differentiates from the comic book line, whereas you'd have muscle definition here, you have more like color, flesh to show two tones, so you see on the legs here and on the body, and not so much on the arms. But he's done in a very dark blue, which I really like. I like dark blue and then red. My favorite Spider-Man, I think, is Alex Ross's. When I was a little kid, I played the Spider-Man 1 Xbox game, and they had alternate skins for Spider-Man and Goblin, and they both looked really cool. I think it was Alex Ross. It's just like basically black and red. So what we see in Superior Spider-Man, basically, which I think is really cool. Anyway, and the other head. If you don't have a Spider-Man Minimate, this is your golden opportunity to go get one, as I think it is generic enough of a Spider-Man that, you know, you would never know that there was a comic book line if you saw this. You know, I hadn't seen Minimates for the first time, but not a disappointing Spider-Man to make your first Spider-Man. And then his webbing came out perfectly. So I have to give credit where it's due, because I'm a stickler if the webbing's not done up perfectly. Now the bleeding with the eyes right here, you can see barely a little webbing underneath the white. I don't really care about. It's not that noticeable. This is what I care about. It's the webbing in the middle. I don't have a Spider-Man available where it's totally out of whack, because I won't buy it. But it is funny because on the multiverse, there are camps that don't care at all about it, and then there are camps that think it's very important. But yeah, I think that's a very solid Spider-Man. The only knock I have is the schmutz on the side of his head, but not the biggest deal. So then we have this guy. I thought I'd show you a quick comparison. He's not on a stand. He's not taller. But yeah, see similar legs. The detailing actually goes all the way around the wrist, which, if you know anything about Spider-Man Minimates, is actually really cool. It's not on the back of his legs, not on the back of his belt, not on the side of his body, not on the top of his body, but the top of his arms, because that's the uniqueness of the costume. It doesn't go all the way down. It stops at the shoulder. And not on the feet, but we haven't seen that, but on one Spider-Man. So overall, yeah, really solid Spider-Man. Take care.